Hi everybody! So I just made a video about my Airbnb experience. However, the very first question I had in my comments was, what's Airbnb? So I decided to delete that video and redo it. So this is the redo. So here's the explanation. First and foremost, Airbnb is an app or a website where instead of staying in a hotel, you rent someone's place or a bedroom in someone's place for just a couple of days, just wherever you're going on vacation to. So I decided to do that because generally the Airbnb thing is cheaper than a hotel. There's its pros and cons, like everything else. So do your research. For me, it worked better to do Airbnb on my vacation. Okay, with that said, thank you so much for whoever made that comment, because I forgot to explain what Airbnb was. So if you want to go take a look at Airbnb, you can download the app on your phone, or you can go to Airbnb website on the computer. So then again, I went to France and I went to Italy. I got an apartment in Paris, and I got an apartment in Rome, and I got an apartment in Florence. Now, when you're doing your vacation planning, if you've never been to those places or to the places that you're going, like I'd never been to France and I'd never been to Italy before. So I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of YouTube videos of other people that made videos about their vacation, which helped me a lot. I went on a lot of, vacation websites, and I looked out for, the best attractions. And then I went back on the maps, and in the Airbnb website, they have the map of the towns and the places that they have available in the map. So it's fairly straightforward for you to find the locations and how far they are to attractions that you may or may not want to go. Now, for Paris, I stayed by the Moulin Rouge area. It's on the 9th arrondissement. So I was told that it wasn't a very good area, but to me, it was great. I wasn't alone, so I guess that's why it was safer, because I had people with me. And it was a great area because it's a very bohemian neighborhood. So there's a lot of nightlife going on. There's a lot of bars. There's the Moulin Rouge. There's, that's a club at night, besides the shows that they have. So it was great for me. And in Paris, the subways are great. So I stayed very close to a subway station. It was like a block away. So it was a great location. So as long as you go to Paris and you find a Airbnb or a hotel that's very close to the subway, you should be fine. I'm gonna make another video specifically to my experience in Paris, and then another video specifically for my experience in Italy later. Now, my Airbnb in Rome was great, not for the location like it was in Paris, but it was amazing because of the room itself. The apartment was great. Like, the guy did a great job on that apartment. It was really, you could see that he took seriously the whole thing. He made a little welcoming book. He got us a little magnet for Rome. It was amazing. I loved it. He was a great host. And it was fairly close to the subway. So even though the location wasn't that great, it wasn't that difficult to get around, which was awesome. My Florence apartment, on the other hand, was perfect, actually. It was in a very prime location, really close to the Duomo Cathedral or church. And if you're close to the Duomo, it's great because everything is really close. So in Florence, you don't need any mass transportation. You can just walk everywhere. We didn't want to stay by the Ponte Vecchio because it's a lot of people around. It's very crowded everywhere. So by the Duomo was a very good choice. The nightlife in Rome is amazing. The nightlife in Florence is great. I say great a lot, I'm sorry. I particularly didn't like France that much, but that's a matter of opinion. You should totally go there at least once in your life. It's beautiful. Another great thing about the Airbnb is the fact that once you finish with your apartment, you will, when you come in, you will meet your host. So keep in contact with them from the day that you book. Try to message them a little bit, tell them like a little bit of your plans on when you're arriving and all that stuff. Keep in touch with them a little bit. Unless you do like in real big advance like me. I booked everything in March and my trip was in September. So I booked in March, and how Airbnb works is you choose the place that you want to stay. Some of them have like this automatic acceptance, and it has like a little thunder next to the price. So if you click on that and reserve it, you will automatically reserve it for you. Some of them don't have that, so you have to like write a little essay and tell them, introduce yourself a little bit, and it will be up to them to accept it or not. So Airbnb gives them 24 hours to accept your offer. When you are choosing in Airbnb the location, you're gonna put the date, how many people are going into the apartment. So the price will always vary, on the time of the year, the amount of people that are going to the room, and you're gonna always see information as far as how many bedrooms, how many beds, how is it set up. There's always comments, there's always feedback from other people, and you can always read everything, and you should read everything to see how these hosts are and how the places are, and see all the photos. Make sure that you see the location, make sure that you see what is the public transportation around the apartment, all the 9 yards. So once you ask to reserve that place that you choose, independently of you writing an essay to ask or it's going to be automatic acceptance, Airbnb will put your card on a pending status for the amount when you send the booking request. So even if you are not automatically booked, even if it's just a request, and you're sending your little essay, you're still gonna pay for it. If they don't accept it, then the money goes back into your account. If they accept it, they already got the money, it's great. So keep that in mind, and do not like send a bunch of requests to different apartments, because if you do that and more than one apartment accepts it, then now you're losing money. And they have like the cancellation. Make sure to take a look at the cancellation policies for each and every host, because some of them are moderate, some of them are flexible, and some of them are very strict. So the flexible ones are, you generally can cancel within 24 hours and you should be fine, and you will get most of your money back. As a default, the host will keep 10% of the nights that you're not staying. So if you were just canceling one night, they're gonna keep 10% of that one night. If you're canceling 3 nights, they're gonna keep 10% of those 3 nights. If they are moderate, they will ask you for 3 or 4 days in advance. And if you do that, you will lose your 10%. And if you don't do the 3 days, you might lose a whole entire night of so many nights that you were trying to cancel. So try to keep a very close eye on the cancellation policies. And again, don't ask more than one host at the time so you don't lose a lot of money. Now, when you are about to go, like about a couple of days or at least a week, that's what I did, a week, I started talking to my hosts and letting them know like, hey, my trip's coming up, I'm arriving at whatever time, let us know what's the time that's best for you, because some of these hosts don't live too close to their apartment that they are renting. Some of them live kind of far. Like the Florence lady that we had, she lived about 40 minutes away from the apartment, so we needed to give her a little bit of advance just to be nice. It's not like a matter of, oh, we have to, but it's always good, because you don't want to come back all jet lagged to that country and then have to wait for an hour outside of the apartment. And you generally just see the hosts once. You see them when you come in. They'll give you the key. They'll explain you, whatever they need to explain about the apartment, their policies. Then they're going to say their goodbyes. And then they're going to tell you, like, just leave the key on the table and leave. Or, just drop the key on a little box outside in the garden. Whatever they want to do. But generally, they don't come back in and take the key back. They'll just arrange with you some way that you leave the key somewhere inside the apartment that's most convenient for you and for them. Another thing that I did, and it's great to do, is, I took the trash out when I left, and I also took out the bed sheets and the towels, and I just placed it on the floor in the bathroom, just so they don't have to do it. It's a nice thing to do, and I try to clean everything I can, because once you leave, Airbnb will request you to give a feedback about the apartment that you stayed. So there's 2 feedbacks that you leave. You're gonna leave a public feedback for the people that are gonna, also try to rent that apartment after you. So you can leave them a feedback saying how the host is, how the apartment is, and everything else. And then there's gonna be a personal feedback that you're gonna leave for the hosts, that only they can read it. So if you had a little bit of an issue, like in Paris, it was hilarious. Our flush was electric. I never heard of electric flush, so it was a very weird experience. And funny enough, every time we pressed the flush, the sink would spill some crazy stinky water, so we didn't brush our teeth in the bathroom. But so that was the time on that little personal, feedback that we left our host that one feedback, like, hey, this is happening. I'm not sure that you are aware of it, so I hope you take care of it. So you can leave that there. And then when I left, I also would send them a text message, hey, thank you, and I took the trash out. I left the bed sheets in the bathroom, just like I just said it before. Because once you leave, Airbnb is also going to ask them to leave a feedback about you. That's also going to be public to all of the other hosts. So when I travel again and I request another Airbnb, they're going to be able to see what other hosts wrote about me. And the neat thing about this is you don't get to see what your host wrote about you, and your host don't get to see what you wrote about them until both of you do your reviews. So if I write my review and my host doesn't write his, he's not gonna get to see what I wrote about him, and vice versa. So that's a very neat thing. So you're not biased by his opinion, and he's not biased on your opinion when they're writing their review. That's a great thing. Overall, I think that Airbnb worked for me, because if you need to cancel or something, you can always work something out with the host. And that happened to me in Rome. I had to cut my trip short today, so we kind of negotiated something, and then we both got some money back. And it's also a great thing because you have your own apartment. You don't have to worry about, check in and check out. You can always ask them, like, hey, can I stay a couple of hours more or whatever. If they don't have nobody coming in, they can actually, just let you stay for the whole rest of the day, whatnot. And it's much better. You save a lot of money because the apartments are cheaper than a hotel room. Like a hotel room in Rome would cost us on the ballpark of $700-800 for the amount of time that we stayed there, and we spent $3. So it was a lot of savings that we did. My mother got a hotel in France for 3 days, and she paid $300, and we paid $140. So it was not that bad for the same amount of time. So take a look, give it a chance to Airbnb. Just, play it right and be very mindful and nice to your hosts. They'll be very nice to you. They are amazing. All of the places that I stayed were great. Of course, not all of them are going to be perfect at all times, but you can always put your feedback when you leave. And just give it a try. And they always have a kitchen. You can always look for places with a kitchen so you can cook something and save some money there. So Airbnb was really worth it for me, and I think it's a good thing. if you guys have any questions about Airbnb, again, Airbnb is renting an apartment from somebody just for a couple of nights while you're traveling. So it's not a hotel, it's just somebody's apartment or somebody's bedroom. I actually have a friend who stayed in a bedroom in an apartment for Airbnb, and she said that her host was amazing. Her host picked her up in the train station after she got out of the airplane and she took the train. Her host actually got her tickets to the attractions that she wanted to go to. Her host made her breakfast, you know. So some hosts are really, really cool. They include breakfast, they include lunches. So just take a look. It's really worth it. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. And I am sorry that I don't have any editorial skills and I don't have a better camera, so I'm filming on my phone. But I would love to have any feedback, any videos that you guys want to know about, you know, any more of the traveling or any more information about Airbnb and my experience with them. Questions about the financial side of it, and anything that you guys kind of wanted to know, let me know and I will answer as fast as I can. Okay? Have a good night.